Good morning, Sir Romany Roy speaking to you. I had a man private message me yesterday from Scotland. He said he was intrigued at some of the things I've done in my life. And he said he loves to hear the scrap stories. Could I say a few more? He said, I expect you've got hundreds of them. I said, yes, I have, to tell you the truth. Anyway, Mark Phillips is in Scotland. This is one for you this morning. I had a phone call one day from a man in Characteristic Council through the harbour master, because I'm good friends with the harbour master, because I'm doing a lot of scrap over there. So he says, we have a boat that we got to dispose of. He said, in fact, it's a wreck, really. Down in Greek. He said, would you be interested in giving us a price to get rid of it? I said, depending on what it is, of course. I said, that's what we do. I said, we'll go down and give you a price. Anyway. He said, what they've done is, they've took the top of the boat off and gone right down more or less to the water line and left it. He said, it's on the mud flaps. He said, at the side of the river. Could you meet us down there? I said, yeah, no problem. Anyway, agreed the time and day, and we get down there early to have a look at this thing. So, agreed to meet us down there, and we're down there nearly an hour waiting. But down beside this river, there's a lane, but it's full of potholes everywhere. I mean, potholes and divots and all sorts. So we manages to get down there. All right, if you stay in the middle, going down through, no problem. I said to Donald, I said, go on, Donald. I said, I ain't waiting here. I said, this fucking waiting around, I guess. Hour or more he was waiting. Anyway, this lane was over a mile long. We gets nearly to the end, and there's Andy, the harbour master. I said, there they are, there, Tom. He said, yeah. But I was looking at the car, and the car was in, he wasn't in the ditch, but he was in a hole. So I stopped. I said, we've been down there waiting over an hour, Andy. He said, yeah, Clarence. He said, we've been up here. He said, we thought you'd been and gone by now anyway. I said, what's up? He said, we pulled in to let a van through, then another car, drove forward about 6 feet to pull out into the middle of the lane, and we've gone down in a pothole. I looked at the car. The car the sill was paggered up. All underneath the front valance, that was a bit paggered in, and he'd bent his old wheel up. So the old chavvy now was half rubbing because his bit of car had been bent up, and I'm half salving at that, see. Anyway, puts the rope on the back of his drag, pulls him out. He said, well, have you got time to go and look? I said, yeah, we'll look. Goes down. There it is. So I said, well, we've been on there and had a look. He said, well, have you got a figure in mind? This fella did say. He said, I just got to get clearance. He said, but there is a budget for it. I said, yeah, you want a budget for it, mate? I said, there's 2 days crane hire there alone. I said, it's going to cost you probably in the region of about £3,000. As much as that? I said, yeah. I said, that's let alone the gas and the labour. I said, yeah, he said. He said, well, what do you think? So I said, well, let's get on. We went back on this more or less like a barge. you could step off the bank and more or less onto this boat, see. So at the moment, she was all one thing. The hull was proper, the only water inside was rainwater. So we got on there walking around, because there was like a steel plate running through like the lower deck. I suppose that's where they used to keep the fish or whatever it was, because back further was where the engine was mounted. So we was on there scuffling around. Good job we went back, because Donald mentioned concrete before we even got there. So Donald was scuffling around with his feet, and there was a strip of concrete on the end of the steel plate. So Donald nudged me and pointed his eyes down there on the floor like. So I said, oh. I said, look. I said, Dan, you got concrete, look. Concrete, he said. I said, yeah. He said, what was that for? I said, ballast. So Andy piped up. He said, yeah. He said, a lot of ships got concrete in the older days. I said, that's going to be a pig. Oh my God, he said. I said, don't forget they pieces, once we cut them, got to be lifted out. You couldn't stand on the mud. You had to work inside the hull all the time. So, looked at it. Now, we had no idea what was actually in there. As far as we was concerned, there was a lump of concrete on the end, steel plate over the top, so that could be concrete all the way through, is what we thought. Right. And he said, well, what do you think? I said, to tell you the truth, I'd want £6,000 plus VAT. As much as that? I said, well, when you say as much as that, what do you think? I said, how do you think this is going to happen? And he said, there's a lot of work there. He said, and that concrete got to come out. He said, you can't cut concrete. I said, yeah, well said, Andy. I said, you can't cut concrete. I said, that got to be hammerjacked out. I said, and to tell you the truth, the first thing I got to do is, when the tide comes in, is pull the ass of that boat over so I can get a machine alongside with a packer and pack it out. I said, you'll never do that by hand. He said, okay. He said, I'll take it back to the office, he said, and I'll be in touch. About 3 weeks went by. Never heard nothing. I said, we haven't got that job. Donald said, I ain't worried. We got him. No, Clary said, a lot of work there. Anyway, phones me up. Mr. Ware, I said, yeah. He said, I got the clearance on that wreck, on the wreck for you. I said, thank you very much. He said, I just need the start date. I need your insurance details. And I'll send you back the agreement. Well, that's fine. He said, upon completion, he said, send me the invoice. He said, within 60 days you'll be paid. I said, no. He said, well, that's the price you agreed. I said, yeah. I said, not on about the price. I said, I want paying within 14 days. If I don't have that in writing, I won't be doing the job. Oh. He said, well, I can't give that authority. I'll have to go back and check. Well, anyway, sure enough, they went back and checked. So I said to Donald, we got the job. We go down there Monday morning. Loads the bottles on the lorry. I have lorry. Because what we were going to do was get this barge pulled in by the side. One of the barges is fucking shit, I keep calling it a barge. Pull it right into the mud flat when the tide was in. Tie her off and then cut all that plate out where the concrete was. So we could see how much concrete was in there. Anyway, we were down there messing about. finally got this ship in as far, about 40 foot long he was. Got in as far as we could get to the bank and tied him off. So once we cut a hole in him, he wouldn't go anywhere anyway. Tide come in, he'd be still on the... So, got in. Donald said, I'll cut this plate off, put a hole in it, and he said, and chain him off and lift it on the lorry. It's all right. So we could only see about a width like that, 2 foot of concrete through the middle of this boat. Why it was so, we don't know. We'll never know. So he cuts along right in tight to the edge of the hole, all the way up through, all the way back through. And we've got to cut these plates now. That's manageable. So we had to cut it 5 by 2 anyway, so that's what he was doing, 2 foot by 5 foot. So first cut he done along the edge, and then we started cutting it up in pieces that we could put a chain on and lift it on the lorry. When he first cut, he cut the middle. The smoke was coming out the bottom of this cut. Grey, black shit. He said, that must be pitch in there. I said, don't smell like pitch. He said, well, I do. I cut it again. I said, yeah, you're right, Don. I said, pitch in there. Anyway, we cut the first one out. He cut a hole in this plate. I put the hook in and lifted it out with eye up. And we lifted out, and you could see in there. He was full of zinc ingots. Zinc. About 2 foot long, foot wide, by about 3 inches thick. We thought it was lead. Either way, we was having some metal. Dory. But I said, there must be some weight in there. Anyway, they painted over, not painted over, they had tar that you get from doing a roof, I suppose. And they tar and pitch right over the top of these ingots. Oh, what a job we had. Now the pitch and the tar where Donald cut to was running everywhere. So what we're going to do, Don? Well, we just have to keep cutting best we can. Anyway, we cut it all out. The pitch they put on top was about 3-4 inches. So you could only see below because where Donald cut and the pitch was all running everywhere. And you could see the shape of these ingots. So we got that all off. We had a hammer and a bar. Sledgehammer and a bar. Drove the sledgehammer in and the pitch was brittle. Then we broke it off. Once we got the first layer off, the rest of it was just, it was all stacked in there, tied in there. And we had 7 tons of zinc ingots out of that hull. Plus, we didn't have to break the concrete. It was only a piece about 2 foot wide, I suppose, by about 3 feet deep. So we was laughing. We was on a winner. I think the zinc at the time was worth about £300 a ton. And we took that home, and then we had, I think we was there 2 days cutting it up into pieces to get it up on the bank, and then we cut her up. Finished the job within a week, and the concrete, we only had 1 strip, and we could break that off easy. That broke off like shitty old concrete. But the good thing of it was it wasn't concrete all the way through, like we thought it was. And done that one, completed, paid us up, lovely. And I'll tell you another story about another one we had. You won't believe this one, but that's all for today. from the Romany Rye. That's a perfectly true story. Can be verified by a lot of people, because it's word got around that we had the zinc ingots out of the bottom of the boat, and nobody wanted to do that job, but we took on and had a bit of luck. So it's bye-bye now from the Romany Rye, and I'll catch you next time.